guys, welcome back, or welcome if you're new to my channel. My name is Jen. I am a homeschooling mom of 6, sort of 6. One of my kids just graduated this past year, and so I am currently actively homeschooling 5 out of my 6 kids. The grades range from like kindergarten / grade 1 up to grade 11. A lot of age ranges, a lot of grades, just a little bit of everything. We are entering our 9th year homeschooling, so that's super exciting. As of when I'm filming this, it's been a few weeks, I don't know, maybe a month, since I uploaded my last video, and that's because kind of in the thick of getting all the homeschool things like prepped for the new year. And then we all kind of got a little bit sick, but it was like staggered. So it kind of started with the kids. And then right up until the week that we were gonna start school, I kept kind of delaying our start date, and then I got sick. It's never good if the teacher gets sick. That being said, I'm filming today's video, but we have already started our homeschool. We are currently in our 3rd week. Yes, in our 3rd week. So I did a ton of videos about all the things that we did last year, all the curriculum that each of my kids used, things that we did for group time, morning time, all the things. And so I kind of wanted to do something sort of similar-ish. I don't know how much, like, I don't know how I'm going to break it up. I don't know if I'm going to break up each video as detailed as I did the other ones, but I kind of wanted to go through what we have chosen to do for the 2022-23 homeschool year. And I thought I would start with our morning time, morning basket, morning cart. I keep all of our morning time things. I do have one of those those 3-tiered rolling carts from IKEA. I actually keep mine in our homeschool room, and we do our morning time at the kitchen table. So I don't like roll it out or anything like that. It's kind of more just like a holding place. I don't know, my hair is like getting caught in the buttons of my shirt. Kind of just a holding place for where all the morning time things go. But actually I have a lot of this stuff too on some shelves out in our family room. So usually what I do for our morning time is, like, the night before, I'll just kind of pick and choose what we're going to be doing for the following morning. Some things we do every single day, and then other things I kind of cycle through. That's how we do it here. What I'm going to be showing you is just that. It's not what we do every single day because we couldn't do it. Some of this stuff we'll do probably throughout the entire year, and then other things we will probably finish in a few months, and then I will slowly kind of add in some, like, I'll pick up some new things. There's also like seasonal stuff that I'll tend to put in. I don't really have a lot of season specific things right now. Every once in a while I will switch out whatever our read aloud is at the time for maybe something very specific to like a holiday or, you know, the season that we're in. But I don't really have any of that here, and I'm not actually including any read alouds, but we do our read alouds during morning time. It's usually the last thing. That's usually what we end our morning time on. And if you watched my other video that I did on our morning time resources and stuff, you're going to see a lot of things that are familiar because either we're continuing it or we just really like it. And so I've gotten sort of like different versions of the same thing. Anyway, so we always start our morning time. I play the national anthem, and we live in Canada, so it's the Canadian anthem. That's how the kids know, you know, to come to the table. So we always start with the national anthem, and then from there we go straight into our family devotional. Now, I've talked a lot in all the videos when I was going through like each of the kids' like individual curriculums, that everybody has their own devotional that they do, very specific to them, to their age level, and it's something that they just do independently when they're at their desks. But we do family devotion during morning time. The one that we're carrying over from last year. We started this about halfway through the year last year. We started off by doing the Sally Clarkson one. Then we finished that one up, and then we started on this one, and we are still going through it. So this one is once a day at the table, family devotional, 365 daily readings and conversation starters for your family. And this is by Zondervan, but it is a dated devotional. So it has a devotional for every day of the year. I don't want to necessarily be doing the same ones every time. We didn't get this until like, it was probably like February. Up until then, all of the devotions we're currently doing are new, if that makes like sense. Once we've like cycled through it, I don't know if I'm going to continue it again. I may at that point go ahead and try out a different one. But for right now, this is what we're doing. There's like a Bible verse, a Bible passage, and it's right in the devotional. Usually I look it up and read it straight from the Bible, because sometimes if it's like, it's hard to get like the context of it, I will read a little bit before and a little bit after, so we can kind of get a better idea of like what the verse is about. And then it's got a couple of questions to kind of answer right off the bat, and then a little blurb about whatever that day is like talking about and focusing on, and then a prayer at the end. And we have like really great family discussions talking about a lot of relevant things. Just a great way to set up our day, to get our hearts and our minds in the right place. So that is what we are doing for our family devotion. And what we do once a week, so on Mondays, we start off the week by doing our memory verses, like our memory verse cards. We've been doing this for a couple years now. Just get these boxed cards off of christianbook.com. This is what this one looks like for this year. This one is actually specific to the Psalms. The ones we did last year was just kind of like, I don't know, like random verses. This one here is Psalms, and this is called Psalms in Color. And it comes in this little box. So like I said, I keep these on our cart. Jake, can you lay down? Buddy, there's no room here for you. There's like books everywhere. Jake. Okay, Jakey. All right, yes, you're a good boy. Okay, yes, sniffing all the books. Okay, lay down. You need to lay down. Okay. So usually on Mondays, we start off the week. Everybody brings out their little deck of cards. Pull out a new card from the front. And this is actually going to be our next week's. Can you see that? Our next week's card is this one here. So it says, "Rest in the Lord and wait patiently for him." Psalm 37:7. Spend a little time coloring the cards. Sometimes while we're doing this, I'll do the devotional, like sometimes like on Mondays when I know that we're going to be spending some time doing this while the kids are coloring, I will do our family devotion. I actually got one of these for me this year. I didn't have one last year, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it with the kids too. So I got one of these for me as well. And they're just, is this mine? This is mine. Actually, I'll show you my masterpiece. No, not really, but this was not last year's. This was last week's. Does it want to focus? Sorry if it's not focusing. The kids really enjoyed it. It's just like calming. Kids keep these cards on their desks so that they can look at them throughout the week and kind of practice the verse. At the start of every morning time for that next week, I will usually pull out just my card, and then we'll go over the verse in various ways and have them take turns. And then on Friday, everybody recites the verse. So that is what we do for Bible memorization, and we love that. Another thing that I talked about, so like I said, this is all stuff we did last year that we're continuing this year. Another thing that we are doing that I talked about when we were doing our group subjects was we did the Gather Around Canadian Government Unit as a family, and I talked about how it was, I don't know, I was like shocked. I mean, I guess I shouldn't have been shocked, but I was shocked at how little the kids knew about the Prime Minister / Prime Ministers of Canada. I mean, they do know quite a bit about our current Prime Minister because, you know, I mean, there's a lot to know about him, but not a lot about the past prime ministers. So it had these cards that came with the unit. It has like all the prime ministers, it has all their pictures on it and stuff. And then like on the back, so it has their name. It says on the back, it has all the information of like when they were prime minister, for how long, where they're from, what they were known for, what party they were the leaders of. We're going through this. We're going to do the whole year. These past couple of weeks, we've gone through the first four prime ministers. I mean, ideally, I'd love it if they knew all of them and they could kind of like say them all. But even if they just know some of it, because I mean, it was just nothing to be writing home about. Last year, I was like, we need to work on this. Another thing, and again, though, I don't do this every single day with them. So pretty much the only thing really that we do every single day, I guess I'll move on to this, is the devotional, the Bible memory verse, and then our poetry of the day. So this is the same one we've been using since last year, a nature poem for every day of the year. I got this off of Amazon. There's actually a few different versions of these I've seen. I just like this one because it's yearly, or it's for the entire year. They're nature-y poems. What I like about this specific poetry book, that it's filled with like, I mean, I don't know all the poets, but it's filled with a lot of poets that like you would know or that you've heard of. It's not necessarily geared towards kids. It's just regular poetry. At the start of every month, there's like a fun little graphic and it starts the month, and then, you know, poems really are catered to like that specific season. We've been reading a lot about how the leaves are turning color, and the birds are leaving, squirrels are getting their little burrows ready and stuff. This is something we do as well every single day. I would say most of this other stuff is things that we just kind of intersperse throughout the week. I have a bunch of flash card type things. These are not even all of them. I just brought a few to show you guys. Addition, subtraction, fractions, multiplication, time and money, but I have like sight words, I have all kinds of things. I'll just pull one of these out, like there's really no rhyme or reason. It's just whenever. I'll pull one of these out, just quiz them just as flashcards, and it's just kind of just to keep them on their toes a little bit, keep them thinking, keep them sharp. So this, we do a version of this every single day. I talked about how these are some of my favorite books of all time. These are probably some of my kids' favorite books of all time. But it's these DK hardback, they're like gold foiled, beautiful, beautiful picture, I don't know, picture science informational books. We absolutely love these. This one is The Wonders of Nature. I also have an animal one. I have the astronomy one. And then the one that we just got this year that we added to the collection is Dinosaurs and Other Prehistoric Life. I mean, look, I can't get over it. They're just beautiful. It's so beautiful. Then the pictures inside and the graphics and everything is just as impressive. It's full color, usually like a drawn picture here, but then there's an actual photo of whatever they're talking about. I guess with dinosaurs this could be a little different, but you know what I'm saying. My kids were so excited when I showed them that we had gotten the dinosaur one, because they're very much into dinosaurs lately, and so they were very excited about that. Here's The Wonders of Nature. I showed this already, but guys, these books are so beautiful. Like, do you see what I'm saying? They're just gorgeous, and it's just enough of a little blurb and just enough of information. We can do this, you know, fairly quickly in the morning, and these are lasting us forever. We did this all last year. I'm only about halfway through this book. Obviously the dinosaur one we just started. What I'll do is we do one of those every day, but I just pick a different one for every day. Do I have 4 books? Yes, I have 4 books. So we almost have like 1 book for every day of the week. And my kids absolutely love it. And I love those books. Love. These are books I have on my actual bookshelves in the family room because look, they're so gorgeous. To kind of go along with that, but I don't do this every single time, is this DK Eyewitness book about dinosaurs as well. We've had this for a long time. I think I picked this up years ago. I don't know, Value Village or something. And there's a whole bunch of them. We actually have quite a few of these. I just thought I would throw that in because, like I said, my kids are so obsessed with all things dinosaurs, because it gives a little bit more, just a little bit more detail on certain things about the dinosaurs and stuff. So maybe once a week, maybe once a week I'll read a little bit of this, and it kind of ties in nicely. So something else that we throw in there from time to time too is these 50 True Stories of Daring Women of God, Courageous World Changers, and there is a men's version of this as well. We finished this one. We started last year, and again we're about 3/4 of the way through it. It's just little stories about different women in history who did remarkable things, had interesting and impactful lives. There's like Mother Teresa, Katherine G. Johnson, she was space-age mathematician, Ida Lewis, Pocahontas, Florence Nightingale. Yeah, and this has just been really fun to kind of see, you know, usually you're talking about the trials, the hard times and things they've had to overcome, how they used God's strength to help them through. So we've enjoyed this. Like I said, we read the kind of men's version of this and really enjoyed it. And so yeah, going through that one. The rest of these are new, are things that I've added in that we have never done, aside from the catechism, which I still feel like I want to put this, I want to bind this nicer because I literally just have it printed and stapled, but whatever. It's the kids catechism. I got it off of the site reformedmama.com, and I don't know if you can still get it or not because I printed this years ago. You can go back and see in my older morning time video all about what and how I catechize my children and kind of what this is all about. But we are definitely continuing through this because there are 119 questions. We've probably gotten about halfway through. I mean, that's pretty good though. My kids can answer about half the questions, which I think is pretty good. I also talked about these Professor Noggin trivia decks that we just love, my kids love. It's just like a fun thing to kind of like throw in there to shake up morning time a little bit. I think we have about 10, maybe 10 of these by now. These are the 2 that I got for this year that I added in. I probably will pick up a few more before the year is over. But I got reptiles and amphibians, and then I got wildlife safari. They're literally decks of cards. They each come with one single dice. Dice. And then the cards have, and that's the other thing too, is like they have great, like even the pictures on here, they're all, you know, like I just don't like, if you have the option to have actual pictures of animals, I can't stand when everything is just drawn, you know, but there's like actual pictures of animals on here. And then on the back, there is like the student column and the scholar column, and each one has 3 questions. And so they each take turns rolling the dice, and they get a number between 1 and 3. And then I pick a question for them to answer. There's multiple choice, there's true or false, there's just some that's just like, answer the question. They learn a lot through this because we have so many different kinds. Like everything from like any animal related to space to the human body, all kinds of things. I actually had a dinosaur one that I was contemplating getting, but I was like, I don't actually know if like we'd be able to answer questions about the names of dinosaurs. I wouldn't anyway. Sorry if the camera looks a little different. Disc was full, and then I got a leg cramp, so I kind of had to move things around. But anyway, I'm back. 2 things that we have started that I am so glad that we got. First thing is the Ology, Ancient Truths Ever New by Marty Makowski. Let me just read what it says. Deep truth, simply told. This beautifully illustrated storybook ushers children into a story of adventure, mystery, and wonder in which they discover life-changing truths about God, themselves, and the world around them. So basically what it does is it goes through the Bible and different parts of the Bible, and it kind of breaks down into smaller, sort of more easy to understand chunks is the best way that I could say it. This is not a replacement for the Bible. So like that's not what this is, but it definitely goes through some very important aspects that are sort of the foundations to our faith and what we believe and what God says, and just sort of making sense of it. We've just started it, so we've only done a few, but I really like how simply put it is and how it really breaks down some concepts that can be hard to understand. I mean, really for anybody, but you know, sometimes for younger kids. I wouldn't say though that this is just solely for like younger kids, but it's definitely, I think, like I have, like I said, I have a 6-year-old all the way up to a 16-year-old. I would say this is great for all of them. I think if I maybe just had older kids, maybe I wouldn't necessarily do this. Having an age range, it definitely works, and it's got beautiful illustrations in it as well. So for instance, like sin always brings judgment, and it has the verse in Proverbs, you know, the fall, the garden, Adam and Eve, what that actually meant in terms of sin and judgment, and how Christ had to atone that, you know, for that, for us. I would say my kids, they know most of this stuff. None of this stuff is like brand new to them, just based on how they've grown up. But anything that can sort of bring about discussions with them, and never quite know though what they're going to ask, or maybe certain things that maybe, you know, they are unclear about. It gives them an opportunity to ask questions and for us to have discussions together. I always appreciate anything that we can do together at the table that can kind of usher in those conversations. This is another one that I got off Christian Book, and it's by the same person, Marty Makowski. I know that this one has been out for a while. This one I'm pretty sure just came out. And it's kind of like a follow-up, but it's its own book called Wonderful, and it's Ancient Psalms Ever New. And I thought this was extra fun to get because of the fact that we are focusing on Psalms for our verse memorization. This is similar in sort of how it's set up. It goes through the Psalms. You have the Psalm there, and then it kind of talks about what David was going through, what is he trying to say in the Psalms, how he's sharing his heart, the ups, the downs, the sorrows, the joys, and how does that, why are they in there? Like, why are the Psalms there? What can we, what sort of knowledge can we glean from that? So I just thought that was kind of neat because, we're learning the Psalms and we're learning the Psalms. You know what I mean? To me, these are like treasured books that I feel like we're just going to have forever and possibly like pass down. I found this book here, and it's called Timeless Hymns for Family Worship, Bringing Gospel-Centered Moments into Your Home. And we haven't started this yet, but what this basically is it goes through all the classic hymns. I mean, honestly, I know a lot of these, but a lot of these I don't know, but it has like Holy, 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 This Is My Father's World, Amazing Grace. Then what it does is it has, so on the one page, it'll go through, it has the actual music for it, which I think is kind of neat. It has the music with the words, but then on the other page, it actually goes through all the verses and choruses for that song, and then it talks about who wrote that song, who that person was, what inspired them to write that song. It's amazing when you find out, if you've ever, like, this to me is so interesting to find out who wrote certain psalms and like just what was going on in their life at the time, what they were going through. The song It Is Well, With My Soul, you might know that song. When you find out like what inspired some of those songs to be written, I don't know, it just puts a lot into perspective to think of where some of these people were at in their lives, and to still be able to write down these words in this offering of worship to God at some of the lowest moments in their lives is just so inspiring. That's kind of what this is, and my plan is just to, because we do sing some hymns in the church that we go to, and so my plan is to go through this with them, kind of talk about what I just said, basically just being able to worship God no matter what. Like, that's the whole point, is to worship God no matter what. It has nothing to do with your circumstances, whether they are good or bad, whether you're at an all-time high or an all-time low. Worship God anyway, in spite of the circumstances, and just what that can do, what that brings. That's kind of what my focus is with this whole book, to play the song for them to hear it. So I'm actually really excited to start this. I actually think we're gonna maybe start on our first one this week. I'll have to try to think, if I remember where I got this recommendation from, I'll try to put it down here below, but I just can't think of it right now. It might be Brighter Day Press, but I'll double check. It's called Window on the World, an Operation World Prayer resource. We sponsor some kids through Compassion. I like to broaden my kids' understanding of the world around us, different cultures, different people, the way that we live compared to how some people live in other parts of the world. Basically what this does is it breaks down, I don't know if it has like there's a lot of places. Each section brings you information, true stories, maps, and easy to use prayer points that take you into the homes around the world, see how children live, what they like to do, where they go to school, what they eat, where, and what they hope and dream. There'll be like 2 pages that kind of focus on a certain part of the world. This one here is North Korea, and it'll just give you some facts about the area, about the leaders, role of religion in that place, and then how you can pray for that country or pray for the people there as a family, so that you're always on a rotation, praying for different people around the world, praying for different countries, praying for their leaders. They would be able to respond to God, and that they would be able to, know God. I just thought this was something great to add into our time together. Anything to just kind of get you outside of yourself. I'm a full believer in the whole, you know, the less time that you have to be thinking about yourself and thinking about what you think your problems are, the less time you have to feel badly about yourself. Then you realize that there's way more than just your you-centered things. I'm excited to dive into this as well because we are just in our 3rd week of homeschool. I've been, you know, slowly integrating some of these things. So over the next couple of weeks, this will be another thing that I will add into our mornings. I'd say this is the last thing as of now that we're doing for our morning time is I have book 1 and book 2 of Meet the Great Composers. Short sessions on the lives, times, and music of great composers. As of now, we've only done one. We did Johann Sebastian Bach. It gives you like a little synopsis of who he was when he was born, when he died, kind of music he played or composed, some of his most popular compositions, interesting facts about his family life and growing up, and then it'll give you about a page or so, a little more in depth of his life and kind of how he got to be where he got to be, influences, all that kind of stuff. And then there's usually like a little activity sheet. There's a word search based on, they had to fill in the answers to the questions of whatever I'd read about and then find the answers in the word search. Usually what I do for my youngest though, Everly, because she can't read yet, like, and this is a little much for her to like do. I've been able to just find coloring sheets, and she was just working on the coloring sheet while the rest of the kids were filling out the rest of the activity sheets, and then I will play the music. Usually we'll like sit and listen to one, like I'll pick one and we'll listen to it, and then the rest of the time I just have that composer's music playing softly in the background. The other thing too is it just happens to come with the CD with the actual music in it, so you could use that. It's just how it came. I don't know if there's a version you can get without the CD, but they just came with the CDs. It's just as easy to pull it up on like Spotify. That is currently our morning time that we are doing right now, fall 2022, and then also our read aloud as well. But I'll probably do a video on what I've picked for not necessarily all of our read alouds, because it's hard to kind of gauge how quickly we're going to go through them, but I did buy a few to kind of get us started for the year, and then I'll fill that in as we go if we need more. And it usually takes us about a little over an hour. It kind of depends, like it depends on if we get into some major discussions or if there's any kind of interruptions and things like that. Sometimes a little bit less, sometimes a little bit more. But we love morning time, you know, it's just, I know a lot of families incorporate it into their homeschool, but it's just a great way to kind of start off the day together. I feel like it just preps everybody, gets everybody's brains kind of working for the morning. Easing into school, I find, you know, none of this stuff is overly intense. And I also like just spending that time together, praying together, having some, you know, meaningful discussions before everybody sort of parts and starts doing their independent work or group work and stuff like that. So that is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing what we are using. If you're new, I would love it if you subscribe to my channel. If you want to follow me on Instagram as well and see a little more behind the scenes, you can follow me there. I hope you're enjoying the fall weather wherever you are. I'm in plaid today. We're in Canada. It looks very fallish outside, but it's actually a very beautiful day. It's like 20 today Celsius, actually pretty warm. But we've been enjoying our fall weather here. Don't forget the thumbs up before you go. It really helps out my channel, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.